Hi and welcome to a new video. This video I want to do the setup of the GT6. So this is a Republic of Gamers actual model from ASUS. So this comes in as a mesh network devices. So I'll link in the description the previous video I did of the unboxing, and then you can have a look at the specifications. But as it is Republic of Gamers, it is towards gaming. You don't necessarily have to be a gamer to actually use these, because these are Wi-Fi 6, so they do have multiple bands there for Wi-Fi and multiple devices around the network and at home. And also you can see here it's got RGB, and the design is actually pretty cool, quite futuristic with all its antennas on the top, and you've got a see-through cover, and then you've got the ventilation, and it's quite like a metal frame as well, so it's got some weight to it, and the design does look good, and it's not too overly large as well, so it'll fit into most homes. So if we start off, as we can see here, this is the ASUS standard setup. So what is good is this is standardized across any ASUS router that you actually get. There might be a few differences when it comes to the Wi-Fi bands that you have, it depending if you have Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6E, but generally it's going to be the same. So you can always expect, and once you set up one router, you should be able to roughly set up the next. So if we go to advanced settings first, as you can see here, the first option, this is if you want to actually set it up as an AI mesh node. So again, I've done previous videos on AI mesh. This is ASUS's mesh network system. So I think other manufacturers have their own system as well, but AI mesh just makes it easier to connect multiple different models of router together. Then so you click on this, and this will set this up as a node. You can also have several operations that will meet your different requirements here as well. So you can click on this one, and then it will give you through to set it up. So you've got an access point or just a wireless router mode. And again here, so if you have just factory reset the actual router, and you've managed to back up your settings, you can actually restore them all. So instead of having to go through the whole setup process again, then you can just click here, upload, choose the backup file, and it will just restore all your settings that you had before. So your wireless name and your passwords, and then any other settings you had set up. Again, if you were having issues, that's why you actually reset the router in the first place. Sometimes it does help to actually start afresh and not reload the old settings. So it's just something to be aware of. We'll go back to previous, and now we'll start a new network. So we'll click this one here. So you can see here where it's saying basically in the same room, at least 1 meter apart during the setup process, and keep the power on and standby system setup. So basically just plug them in. There'll be several lights that will be actually on there. Most of them will go blue or will be flashing orange. So once you've got it on here and you've got them in the same room as it says here, you just click next. So you've got some special requirements. So if you do have anything that your internet company has provided to you, you can click yes. So if they are here, then you can see here there's a whole list of different networks, and you can go through them and then choose your settings. There is a manual one as well. Or if you just click no like me, my internet service provider doesn't have any special settings. Then you see here assign a unique name. So this is called an SSID. So basically this is your network name that you see when you search, when you open your tablet or phone. This will be your wireless name. So think of something individual, and also if you're going to separate, so it says here, if you want to separate the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz frequencies, you can click here, and then it will give you more options to actually break down the network. So you can see here this actual setup of this GT6. It has one band for the 2.4, and it has 2 bands for the 5 gigahertz frequency as well. So you can separate them out. Or if you are just a normal home user and you want an easy life kind of thing on setup, you can allow the routers to automatically identify what your device is connecting, and then put it onto the right network for you to load balance and make it faster. It is entirely up to you. If you're an advanced user, normally you would separate them out, because give you an example, All my older devices, like some of the doorbells, are still only use the 2.4 gigahertz frequencies, so they're a bit of a slower speed. And then I have one 5 gigahertz frequency for any other devices in the house, so like your Google Home or Alexa's, if they support the 5 gigahertz frequency. And then normally the second 5 gigahertz, if you've got any Xboxes, PlayStations, or your gaming PC's Wi-Fi and not Ethernet, you can separate that band out just for these high demand devices, so they don't get bogged down and everything else on the other one. So again, that's just an example of how you can separate them. We'll just call this one example, and then again the password you can then, so you can just click on here again on the I, and it should then show you, so you can see what your password is. Of course, don't do passwords it's as simple as this, even though it says it's a strong password. That's not really. So literally try and think of something, and if you do have to write it down, then you know it's in your home and everything else, write it down or save it somewhere secure so you've got an idea of the actual password. So then I'll just click apply, and now it's asking you for a router login name and new password again. So this is going to be your details that you're going to log into your router with. So it's either using the ASUS router app, or the actual interface that we're going through here is the web interface. So normally it's admin, but of course you can call it anything you like. So you can call it your name, and then perhaps some numbers after it, and then your password. Try not to use the same password as your Wi-Fi network, so try and use it as something different. So we'll just use the super secure password here, and then we go to next. So just again write these down, because this is going to be your login details to the router to change any settings in the future, so make sure you actually remember these ones. We just click next, and again you can do so if you're like me and think, oh hang on, what did I just type in. If you go previous, it will go back and then have you, so you can see, oh yeah, my password is example123. That's fine, and then you go to apply, and then you can go back to here. We'll go next, and now sometimes what we'll do is it'll start to apply these settings. So you go in here, you says your internet connection setting is finished. You have changed your SSID for security settings, so that's our network name. So you've got here, and then basically you've got your step 2. Once the new SSID is connected, go back to your so this is the actual, instead of having an IP address of 192.168.50.1, you actually have a you can type in router.asus.com, and that should take you to your router as well. But if you do have any issues, just type in that IP address to get you back to your network. So now we'll just move on to actually reconnecting. So now it would have disconnected you from your network on your router. So now you need to go to your settings, find the Wi-Fi. So in our example, we put in their example as the network name. So it's telling you here example, and then you need to enter this password here for your network. So we'll just quickly go on to that, and then we'll come back. So now I've reconnected back to our Wi-Fi network with the new details that we set up. So that was under example, and then the password with example123. So I've connected to that Wi-Fi network now. So now we enter our details that we set up previously. So our username that we set up for the router, so I said was the login to change your settings in future. We'll just type those in and then sign in. So you can see here that again this is the Republic of Gamers. So you'll see this is quite familiar from previous videos if you watched. Have a look on the playlists. So these settings are roughly the same, as you can see, even though under advanced settings. So if you do want to know more details, I won't go through them in this video, but just look at previous videos and you'll be able to see where I go through the AI protection, AI mesh, the VPN, and all the advanced settings that it has down here. So as you can see here, the GT6, you've got a nice, so they have actually customized it. So you can see the gaming here. They've actually done the background and everything else actually looks pretty cool. So it can shows you got you connected to the internet, and then your transmission and reception speeds and everything else that you're getting, and your network ping and the ping deviation as well. And you can see the averages underneath. And again, you can also, if you do have this in your bedroom, you do have the option to switch off the RGB if it's a bit too bright, or you have the options here to change for the different settings as well. So one thing again, as we said about this, what I will go into is just have a look at the game radar. So these are going to be like the different kind of settings that might be customized for certain routers. So we'll quickly have a look at game acceleration first. So you can see here about the port prioritization it comes with, and the packet prioritization, and the game server acceleration. The third one here, this one here is like a VPN for, instead of having been for privacy, it's for gaming. So hopefully connect you to the fastest game net servers and everything else. You can see here we've got the game devices, so you can actually dedicate certain ports, and then also devices you can identify as going to have prioritization. So you can see here, and then you've got the game boost. So again, this basically is a gaming mode, and it uses adaptive quality of service, or QoS. And basically it identifies all the gaming traffic and prioritizes that over everything else. So if someone else is streaming some video, or you've got watching YouTube, TikTok or whatever else, or web browsing, it'll prioritize all of that for basically to make sure you get the best connection and the fastest response. So that's always good if that's a priority and you've got lots of other people in the house using connections. And then you've got there as I said, it's like a VPN. So what they're using, so they did change between companies, ASUS on some of the older models. So now they're using the WT Fast. So you can get more information by searching them on Google and finding their website. But as you can see here, it connects your home network to the games servers via their shortest route with the lowest latency and ping time. So there is some kind of thing around here. It's about a third party, and you can go into more details on here. And there's an FAQ as well that will take you to normally to the ASUS website. We'll go through information. So it does have all those there, so that's good to see. And then if we just quickly go to Game Radar, you can see here all the games that they've currently got support for. Again, it's not everything, as you can see here. Sometimes they are missing a few that would be better to have. And then you can have a look down here to see what your ping rate is for the closest server for your region. And I'm in the UK, so hopefully it's the EU. As you can see here, it's only 6. And then I've actually got down here the AU. I've actually got 5. So either the furthest away is shorter. And you can see Taiwan and a few of the others that are around the country. Around the world. So this gives you an idea of the features and everything else. Again, as I said, just make sure that you have a look at the other videos if you're interested in all these other settings, because they are the same and I've gone through them multiple times, so I won't go through them again here. So just have a look on my playlists. I think lastly is probably best, once you've set it up, is always to go to your firmware. So that's always to the under advanced settings, administration, and then just come down to here and click on the firmware upgrade, because normally when they've left the actual factory, they won't have the latest firmware sometimes. So just best to double check. So just go on to there and then hit the check button. I'd advise not to use the any beta firmware, because that's normally might have a few bugs in. If you're using this for your main routers for your home, you don't want to have any problems or issues, because people rely on the internet quite a lot here. So you can see here that I've already got the latest firmware, so that's good to see on my GT6. But as I said, you've got all the download sites here, so if you do want to manually download the ASUS firmware, you can manually download it yourself as a file. Okay, so I hope you found this setup video helpful. And again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Again, thanks for watching and have a great day.